guys, Frank and Angie over here at the beach, Salinas, Ecuador coast. Let's talk about this. Is having wealth a sign of wisdom? You can point to a lot of examples of how smart wealth can be, and I certainly wouldn't argue with that. Certainly, in order to create wealth, one has to have an inside or an ability or an inside knowledge or just a lot of determination to buy low and sell high and know what you're doing. So there's a lot of smarts involved in having wealth, no question there, but is it wisdom? In other words, are wealthy people inappropriately looked at as a source for wisdom or not? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe you do. Maybe you have some ideas about that. Why was I thinking about this? Well, because I hear these stories of like this 86-year-old wealthy expat that recently was robbed and murdered way out in the country in Ecuador. Yeah, he had a gun and had an alarm. Clearly there was a blind spot there. You know, one has to question if coming to a country with a GDP per capita, you know, household income of $11,000 per year, and buying and selling million-dollar properties is really a wise thing to do. It's not a criticism. I'm just asking, is it a wise thing to do? To go to any country, not just Ecuador, any country where just having a few computers and, you know, a few trinkets can get you robbed and sometimes murdered. Is it a wise thing to do? So there are many aspects to this question, but we hear this all the time. This is a common occurrence in these foreign countries. Yeah, I know, there's crime in the States, duh. The point is, you go abroad, you make yourself a target. It's an interesting idea to discuss because it just happens all the time, over and over and over. And to me, to be somebody in your 80s, I know I'm not going to be as fast as some young whippersnapper with a gun. That's what I'm trying to say here. You know, thinking, well, I've got a gun and I'm going to protect myself. There's a lot of, and I'm not anti-gun either. Clearly, there are cases where a gun does not save you and is not a good idea. Because there's a fellow that wrote a book, In the Gravest Extreme. I read that book. Owning a gun is just the very top of the surface. You're skimming the top of the surface. You have to be prepared to use a gun. Prepared to use in more ways than one. Meaning having made a decision that you're going to actually shoot somebody and then being able to carry it out in a very efficient, quick, and safe manner. And when you're up in that kind of age, the probabilities are kind of stacked against you. So I would tend to think, if I had a time to think this through, I would say, well, that would be my last resort. That would certainly not be my anchor and first and foremost barrier of defense. It seems to me that wealthy people, bad things happen to them all the time. So that to me, wealth doesn't necessarily equate wisdom. It can. It certainly can. As the ancient writings say, with God all things are possible. But is that what's happening here in these places? Or is it just the almighty greed and the almighty dollar? Hey, here's a chance for me to make another mill. And at the same time, make yourself a target. Guys, I just get the sense that the Italians have a word, it's called spruttatore. Spruttatore, quite the word there. And it means predator. Not in the way that it's commonly understood on television in the USA. Not that kind. Just the kind that goes too far. They just take advantage. I think that sometimes people, they put the dollar signs in their eyes and they blind themselves with it so that they can't see. They have faulty thinking and they don't know it until it's too late, and that's sad. But I see it happen all the time. All the time. So anyhow, on a lighter note, this is a beautiful beach. Certainly it doesn't cost anything to walk here yet, and anyone can walk here and enjoy the beautiful nature, rich or poor. Not picking on any rich folks,